17. We already saw a good one for the Cleveland Browns. These two teams hoping to strengthen their case as playoff contenders and not pretenders. That's where we start.
First down.
Lions and Cowboys. This game is happening on Saturday. It's supposed to be the Monday night game, but because we have college football on Monday, this game gets moved to Saturday. ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Mike, who do you believe in more to win a Super Bowl?
I wish I had the Javante sound of, because I don't know if I believe either one of them. Probably Detroit, because we've seen Detroit go on the road and be successful this season. The difference, of course, the Lions have never been in this position before, and they have only made one NFC title game in the modern era, let alone a Super Bowl, which they have never been to. I feel like this Lions team may be a little bit of a team of destiny. They've been playing well of late. So I would say I trust the Lions more than Dallas, because if the Lions go on the road, if they don't somehow get the 1 seed, which is still a little possible, they can go win somewhere if they need to. Dallas, I don't know if they can.
I will really quickly say that I probably believe in Detroit more to go on the road and win a Super Bowl, but my goodness, they better hope they're at least in like warm-ish environments. Jared Goff is not a good quarterback when it's cold out. I'm sorry. He has to play with 2 gloves, and he doesn't have to play with 2 gloves when he's inside Ford Field. He won't have to do it inside AT&T Stadium. The defense, at least as of recently, is coming alive, and that travels. So I believe in them more because they've won games on the road. You know who hasn't won many games on the road, at least good teams? That's the Dallas Cowboys. All right, what's next?
Second down.
Dolphins at Ravens. That's happening on Sunday. Which team is more likely to disappoint us?
Probably the Ravens. And I say that because the expectation right now for the Ravens feels like Super Bowl or bust. And the AFC is still a really difficult conference. Miami, very talented team. We'll see how these two teams stack up this weekend. And then maybe that conversation, Courtney, is changing by next week if Miami, say, beats Baltimore, right? But Lamar Jackson has not had a ton of playoff success in his career, and that's another concern for me there. I would say Baltimore, when it comes to playoffs, has a better chance of disappointing just because of the expectations on them at the moment, but it would also not surprise me if they go and win the Super Bowl.
I think it's Miami, because this was a team that's already disappointed us in a lot of respects. Remember the hot start that they got off to? They're putting up 70 on the Denver Broncos. Week 1, they go on the road and pull out a thriller, a high-scoring affair against the Los Angeles Chargers. And then they came back down to earth. Like the Greatest Show on Turf Part 2 did not really get to assume its positioning for the whole season, and that's okay. But it's not that I don't trust the Miami Dolphins. I just think that Buffalo, the way that they're playing right now, they may win the AFC East, which means that Miami would have to go on the road and be a wild card, during wild card weekend as a road team. And I don't know if that is going to travel, warm weather-wise. You don't want to be going north in those moments to win those games. So I think it could potentially be Miami here as the biggest disappointment. Baltimore's been rolling. They just beat the San Francisco 49ers. I don't have many qualms about where they stand currently. Want you to tune in for football action Sunday. Ravens hosting the Dolphins, game we just talked about. Coverage beginning noon Eastern time on select ESPN radio stations. This is Unsportsmanlike. Courtney Cronin, Mike Rothstein with you on this Feel Good Friday morning. What's next?
Third down.
Bengals at Chiefs. This game was a lot different last year, but there's still trash talk coming from Jamar Chase, of all people. I don't believe he played in the last game that the Bengals were playing in because he's dealing with a shoulder injury. But question I have for you, Mike, is this version of the Chiefs, will they be able to make a Super Bowl this year? We know that their path has to go away from Arrowhead. They've never done that with Patrick Mahomes. Can they get to the Super Bowl?
Can they? Sure, they can. If their team is still quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes, they can. Will they? No, they won't. And I say that because of the two teams we just talked about, Baltimore and Miami. I don't have any qualms with Baltimore either. I'm just saying, based off of expectations, that ceiling is so high of what their kind of expected or their aspirations are. Although all these teams have the same aspirations. there's too many talented teams in the AFC, and Kansas City's offense just looks so lost right now. I have no reason to believe that they can go on the road and win potentially 2 games. That just feels like a little bit too high of a bridge to climb, or mountain to climb, or stairs to climb. Whatever you're trying to climb, they ain't gonna get it.
They went from climbing the mountain to climbing the hill to just trying to get to level 12 on the Stairmaster. When you have Matt Nagy invoking the whys, which I know triggered a lot of Bears fans, the team that he coached for a couple years here, he spoke about that yesterday, that when these things happen, you got to search for the whys. Why did it happen? Why did the play break down? Why did this player do X, Y, Z? I think that they are a team that could, with Patrick Mahomes, get to the divisional playoffs. They have not been in this situation, though, where they have to win away from Arrowhead. They've been spoiled because they've been a much better team the last couple of years. This offense isn't capable of contending with the other good offenses in the AFC, and potentially who they'd run into in a Super Bowl, which would be the San Francisco 49ers, from my estimation. I don't think they make it past divisional weekend this year. All right, we'll end it here.
4th down.
Mike and I will be at this game on Sunday, Bears-Falcons, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Which of our teams has a better outlook for the future?
I will go with Atlanta, and I say this because their roster is very talented, and they have a lot of these guys locked up for at least the 2024 season, if not longer. And you're talking about Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. They're more talented offensive linemen in Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron, Chris Lindstrom. Their defense is a little older, but A.J. Terrell, in theory, could be getting a long-term contract. We'll see how that goes. Their linebackers are very good. If you've noticed, Courtney, there's one position I haven't mentioned.
Quarterback.
Exactly. And that is the one concern there. If they figure out the quarterback position, this team has a chance to be very good for a long time. That was their issue this year because their quarterback, Desmond Ridder, turned the ball over far too much. It's why he's gotten benched twice this season in favor of Taylor Heineke. And if they're able to figure that situation out this offseason with the quarterback, whether that's a veteran, whether it's someone in the draft, then this team has every other piece there, every other really position handled. They'll add some players in free agency, of course, and in the draft to be a contender going forward. But if they don't figure out the quarterback position, well, then you're looking at what we've seen.
I will take the other side of this, not just to be adversarial or take the other side of the argument, but if you're the Chicago Bears, you have a new CEO and president in Kevin Warren, who's doing business differently than the way the team has done it the last 102 years. You're going to have a new stadium at some point. You're going to have potentially a new quarterback because you do have the number 1 overall pick, not by way of your own record, by way of Carolina's crappy record. And you have carte blanche to do whatever you want this offseason. That's the topic of conversation here in Chicago. Will they keep Justin Fields? Will they move on? Whomever is pulling the final strings, the last one on all of those decisions, can change the trajectory of this franchise. I don't know if there's any other situation in the NFL where you have the potential for a clean slate and going a 180 from where you are currently more than the Chicago Bears. We'll leave it there. 888 say ESPN, 888-729-3776. Tell us your best sports moment of the year, your worst sports moment of the year,